This is the closest thing to the NBA and MLB All-Star Game, the World Series, and all the Hall of Fame events. And so the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions in 2012 has really morphed into a real, real fantastic, serious event that I'm very happy to be part of, inducting the Beastie Boys, especially with LL Cool J, who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he's just a tremendous statement. Before people start running off with Jay-Z and Eminem statements, there was LL Cool J and the Beastie Boys. And coming out of our fraternity of Def Jam, which is the last great record label, it was a very proud moment to be up there. And it's also a very proud moment to let everybody know that hip-hop at its best should reflect all the musicality in the room. I sat at a table. My table, I got Smokey Robinson and Carole King at my table. Now, as a fucking songwriter, as somebody in hip hop and rap music, if you can't recognize the stature of those greats, you don't need to be in music. You can't say you're a hip-hop anything because hip-hop and the DJ starts from the knowledge and the homage to the records and the musicians and the labels and the great radio people like my man Kobe Cole, who helped build some of these places and people and things. So, I mean, recognition is very important if you're in rap music and hip-hop. And to recognize the third inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Cleveland was a treat and a joy. Run DMC and Jam Master Jay in 2009, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, who I'm going to check out tonight at the House of Blues. Grandmaster Flash tonight, and this year the Beastie Boys. Can't get no better than that. Yes, sir. And say your name, and who you represent.
Dan Durko's Billboard magazine.
Just
to play off what you're saying, some people might find it something of an uncomfortable fit in hip-hop and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is it all part of just one continuing?
Well, if anybody really knows anything about rock and roll, you better go to some Black Delta bluesmen before you start calling anything rocking and rolling. That's just a marketing term, so know where these terms came from, but it's still about the music, baby. It's about the music, it's about some angst, it's about some rebellion, it's about some ease to thought, some great songs that's nourishment, that when you're hitting the road, although we're in a visual audio age, you're hitting the road, you got on your Sirius XM or your radio station, and it's supposed to be basically nutrition for your day. It's just not about food intake and ingestion from your mouth in. Sometimes it got to go through, your ears to your brain. So hip hop and rap music is sort of like the manifestation. It's all coming together because it starts from DJs, and the best DJs know what the hell they're playing and where what comes from. Just like because you have 10,000 songs on your iPod doesn't mean that you're an automatic DJ. You got to know those songs. And you got to know that even the beginning of hip-hop was able to take somebody like a Led Zeppelin and mesh it with a James Brown. My Ahmet Ertegun is out there, and it's Rick Rubin. I introduced Rick over to Bette Midler. Wasn't that something? So I said, I was amazed because, I'm a collector of things. So Bette Midler did a fantastic narration on the story of Ahmet Ertegun, the house that Ahmet built. When I told Bette, I said, it's a pleasure meeting you, because this is my Ahmet right here, so when his story comes out, hopefully I could do a voiceover that's just as good as yours. So she was touched. And also Carole King was touched because her daughter was like, wow, Chuck D. But I'm like saying, you understand? Your mother and Smokey Robinson, feet apart. Now as a songwriter, trust me, I was in heaven. So I tweeted my ass off. Yes. it's real life, and definitely affects, you know, the group. It's kind of like, it's bittersweet because this is the third hip-hop induction, and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five were kind of like split up for years, so they really couldn't and didn't perform. And then Run DMC, Jam Master Jay being killed in 2002, that, you know, Run DMC split up. And here, the third time, the Beastie Boys would have performed, but they couldn't because MCA is sick. So, I mean, it makes you think, right? So, we take this very seriously. This was a benchmark in the music to show people that, look, man, this is not a joke. This is not a passing fad. This is not kids' music. And no offense, Cole, but I just think one of the biggest cancers to black music has been black radio, or I should say urban radio, because it doesn't reflect all of the people when it comes down to hip-hop and rap music. I saw, you know, LL Cool J, I told him how much of it was a crime that on his Exit 13 record, he had such great songs like, you know, Rockin' with the GOAT, that there was not a place to play his records because he wasn't, you know, 15, and you didn't have a whole bunch of kids between 12 and 21 blasting the radio stations for requests. So it just makes it fake and corny. Whereas we're looking at Guns N' Roses. We're still looking at the Small Faces who are doing gigs. So the treatment of black music and hip hop by urban centers, by BET, has been a travesty to the music, because within the music is a history. And when you knock the history away from the people, then they're ignorant and they just become consumers for product over and over again. And that has been blasphemous, it's been disrespectful, and it's been racist, even when it's black people doing it. So that's just what it is. So when somebody comes along and says, you know what, yo, Chuck, is hip hop rock and roll? That question just shows that they don't know enough damn history. Because if you can't connect Robert Johnson to Slash, who's black, by the way, anyway, in this country, if you can't connect Robert Johnson to Duff, then you don't know what you're talking about. You don't need to be here. Just go to the Cavaliers game and talk dumb shit about sports in the bar and see if you don't get your ass kicked in the bar because you don't know enough about sports. But how many people don't know shit about music? Y'all are journalists. You get it every day. Oh yeah, what's his name? And here you're like, wow, they don't know the artist, they don't know the song, they don't know the label. What the fuck am I in? Am I talking too much right here? Cole, what you say, Cole? Now this is Kobe Cole, who broke a lot of my records in Philadelphia as a DJ. And I know he's had struggles with his bosses, like, I want to play this song, but it's not right for Arbitron ratings and all that shit that don't count. But anyway. Right. We were cheap. We replaced Fishbone on the License of Ill tour in April 1st to April 15th, 1987. And we were on the Def Jam label. And of course, it behooved that the management would actually turn around and say, wow, what do we have here to replace Fishbone, which also was a CBS. And doesn't that sound funny? A CBS recording label group. And we played the 15 dates, and they said, well, look, for this amount of money, $1,000 a night, what can you do? Well, we can't get no bus, so you know, I got a van, my girlfriend rented me a van, and I actually drove to 15 cities, and we got 2 rooms and slept with people's feet in our faces and all. But we played the 15 dates on the License to Ill tour, and it was a great teaching for us as professionals just to see how it operated before we got on the next tour, which was with LL Cool J, the Def Jam tour. So we had already played the Philadelphia Spectrum in April 1987 before we actually came back and played a gig for Power 99 and Lady B, a great lady who broke our records in Philadelphia as well. So that was very groundbreaking for us, that we already played arenas with the License to Ill tour before we came back to play clubs. Yes. HBO? Well, I ain't never gonna be on TV, so I'll answer some more questions. I'm not a TV guy. Flavor Flav is a TV guy.
All right, let's do one more.
You talked a little bit about the radio and breaking records. The radio got issues. Radio's had to do that. How do you think it's now?
My last statement on this is like, number one, if radio does not support local artists, if the community does not support the local arts, you can't expect the arts to support the community in any causes. And the fact that you have so many groups from Cleveland or Detroit or Tulsa who come from these cities, it's blasphemous for them to go sign to LA or New York to get heard back in their hometown. That shit has been going on for too long. So when does the Cleveland radio station support Cleveland artists 60% and everybody else 40%? Going national does not help independence, because if you can't get outside your 4-state area without spinning a grip, it does not help you at all. And in Canada, they're required to play 35% Canadian artists in their playlists. But here in the United States with 300 million people, the radio station, I don't care if they're corporate owned and all, this is where we need to occupy them. They should support their local arts movement and then give maybe 60% to the national. And if you're in the community and you ain't doing shit for it, you got to get kicked the fuck out. Simple as that. Because how many artists you got in Cleveland? How many artists you got in Columbus? How many artists you got in Cincinnati? Youngstown? How many artists that you got in Dayton? Dayton is the birthplace of funk. So you used to always hear stories like how a Dayton artist couldn't get played in Dayton or Cincinnati, but they had to sign to a New York company to get heard at home. That shit's old and it's played out, it's tired, and it has destroyed rap music and hip hop from a grassroots approach. Internet is helpful, it's supplementary, but you still need something to pop it off home, especially when it comes down to free air. And free air is when you turn it on and it pops on without any kind of subscription. It's just in the air. So the airwaves are very important. Television is very important. BET, the Booty and Thug Network, thinks that it got a lock on the culture. And that has been totally derogatory. So these young artists can't, they can't breathe. They can't do anything for the community because there's nothing to lend their hand to help them. And that's my point of view. But here I am in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because of artists that have figured out a long time ago how to maybe get around it and how to push forward. But the game becomes more tricky as we go along. Yes, ma'am. You wrapping me up? You're the Grim Reaper. All right. Hey, this is my email's simple. It's chuckd@publicenemy.com. And my Twitter, I'm not a twittiot, is Mr. Chuck D, MRCHUCK. I thank each and every one of y'all. Kobe, I'll probably see at Grandmaster Flash's joint tonight at the House of Blues. My man. All right, he's my man for life, because he's helped put food on my family's plate. But then again, I am a freedom fighter for artists to always be able to have their voice heard, especially if they're like the best in their city. Come on, it's simple math. Peace.